Welcome to the Nathan.net. In this video, we're going to cover Ansible and kind of the real basic high-level overview of more of an introduction to Ansible. And the things I want to cover is how it works, the pros and cons, and where to find more information. So I'm going to try to keep this short and to the point. So what is Ansible? Ansible is an agentless automation and configuration tool, and maybe an orchestration tool, depending on how you want to set it up. Ansible could be used for workflow automation, which that would kind of be the orchestration piece of it. And it could do anything from provision servers to run one-off commands on many hosts in parallel, or host groups, I should say. Ansible is written in Python and uses SSH to execute commands. Ansible uses an inventory to group and nest the systems. In Ansible, you can use modules to create tasks that do things, and you put task and playbooks, which are written in YAML. An example of a one-off command would be Ansible server 1. I'm giving it my inventory here, or the name from my inventory. Now I have my .ansible.cfg configured, my inventory set up with just that one host in it right now, and by default it's going to use the shell module. So let's run this one-off command. And I didn't spell it right. So if I spell server correctly, it's actually going to SSH into that host and run the hostname command. And you can see that it returned with the 0 there. It's the return code. Now let's take a look at a playbook. And the first thing is we'll actually cat the playbook. I've written this quick playbook to do the same thing. It's just going to run a host name. And you can see it's in YAML. And I have a task set up here. And the task is just going to run the shell module and get the host name. This is actually what's doing the work. So to run that, I'm telling it to run on all hosts, which I only have one in my my inventory right now. So to do that, we would do Ansible playbook, and then we would just give it the name. And it's going to SSH into that one server and return the same thing. But this would be a way that you can run the same thing over and over again. So for example, if you did want to push a config or edit a config over and over again, you could create a playbook to do that and either run it or put it in cron. So now let's cover some of the pros and cons of Ansible. A pro and a con, and these are just my opinions, are that it's agentless. It's nice that you can use SSH, so you don't have to install software, except if you're on some older versions of Linux. It does need a Python module on most of them, but like the Red Hat 7 and all the newer ones, they should be fine without anything. For example, that server 1, I didn't have to install a thing on it, and that was the CentOS minimum install. So that's definitely a pro. There's no extra firewall ports to be open. If you can SSH into it, you can most likely run Ansible on it. A con is that it's kind of a one-off. There is no agent, and so if a system is down or times out, it would throw an error, kind of like in that purple color there, right here, but unless I reran it when the server was up, it would never apply those changes. Whereas an agent-based system would, if you have it set up to like you're making a config change, when the server came back up and checked in, it would push that config change out. Another pro of Ansible is its inventory. I find its inventory to be fantastic. It's powerful the way you could group and nest and make children of systems, so you can run ad hoc commands really easily. With an SSH loop, you would have to do that either by like pulling based on host names or something like that out. But this way, you could pre-configure different groups of servers, and you can run commands off of them, individual groups, and you can also set things like the version. If it's say CentOS 6, I don't want to run this command, I want to run this other one. And the modules also add some cool functionality of it being able to gather the facts and information about it and use the proper command because it knows the version of it. And that's another thing. The facts are pretty good, and it does a good job of gathering the information off of the systems, and you can use that to really customize what you're doing and what you're running. I'll let you decide if playbooks, they could be a pro or a con. They're written in YAML, and I think if you like YAML, you won't have any problem with it. If you hate YAML, you're going to hate Ansible, unless you're running just the one-off commands, shell commands, which in that case it's kind of like almost doing an SSH loop, except it's a little bit more in parallel. You don't have to background the stuff. So with that, I kind of want to wrap up the video. I forgot documentation. That's another pro. Ansible has very good documentation. It has versioning. It has examples. When something is deprecated, you can go look it up, and it has a lot of good information on it. They do deprecate stuff, but I ran into the same thing with Puppet and Chef. A little bit, not so much, but mainly with Puppet, where certain versions of things have stopped working. But like Puppet, Ansible tells you a couple versions ahead that, hey, this is being deprecated, switch it or it's not going to work. You could find the documentation at docs.ansible.com, and I spend a lot of time there when I'm doing Ansible stuff. It's a great source. So this is going to be the first in a series of videos I want to do in Ansible. For the code and the commands I used, you can check out my blog post on thenathan.net. A link to that blog post will be in the video description below. Please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Bye.